So this press conference does make sense, and it's all biases. When we say bias, it's something to do with interests of individual, not the countries. SPLAIO is a party and a movement as well. Michael McQuail has violated the rule of the country. He has violated the 2018 transitional revitalized peace agreement, because on the 2018 revitalized peace agreement chapter, this chapter 1, it revitalized the transitional government of national unity. We had a transitional government of national unity. This government is not a government led by individual ideas. It has a frameworks and is guided by the agreement. So before 2018, there were a peace sign, there were a peace agreement. That peace agreement was broken in 2016. That one has got no clues, and it has no frameworks to work on. But based on the 2018 peace agreement, all security sector has been included in agreement. And that was explained in chapter 1. Chapter 1 of a revitalized transitional government of national unity. This government should compose at least 5 components. The reality is, the SPLAIO, led by Dr. Machar, is the only government opposition that has a arms group, and the other parties do not have arms. And on the agreement, there should be on a revitalized transitional government of national unity in the Republic of South Sudan, everyone must implementing the agreement. When we say everyone, it should be the SPLAIG, the SPLAIO, SOA, and the others signatory on the peace agreement. But now the SPLAIG takes the country back to war. It takes the country back to war. First, it invites the ULANG force into the country, which is not part of the agreement. It's not part of revitalized peace agreement. They invite RSF force, the rebel of North Sudan, to the war, which is not a part of the agreement. They invite the others rebel forces that fight along them to keep them on power. This is a violation of a revitalized peace agreement, because the revitalized peace agreement does not invite the other country military to operate within this sub-Saharan countries like South Sudan. SPLAIO is a party that has a political bureau and that has the rule of laws whereby it can nominate its leaders, not the SPLAIG to nominate for SPLAIO. SPLAIG has no right to undermine the other party to vote on their behalf. The SPLA-IG had to respect the agreement, because this agreement is a way forward to bring South Sudan into peaceful state. So we all have to talk against the rules that is broken by SPLA-IG to fuel the war within the country. We all need the international organization, the IGAD, the TOICA, the Africa Unions, and the other stakeholders to dismiss the incorrupt government, the violent government, the government that fuel war within its own people. The self-defense force or white arms are not a military organization. They are a civilian that defend the right that is violated by the violent government that does not defend its people. A government that has to torture its citizens. A government that bans children, mothers alive. A government that has an agenda to destroy the one ethnic group. That is not a government we want, and that is not a government we fight for. And that is not a government we've been exiled for. And this is not the people that could lead the government of national unity, because they have no agenda of development. They have agenda of eradicating some tribe. And this would not happen in the face of international communities. So I'm here to defend, to oppose the press conference held on 26 against the SPLA-IO. Dr. Machar was nominated by its party and was brought up by its party. Dr. Machar was a struggler finger. He'd been poor for 20 years in the country. He is the father of self-determination. Without him, there's no South Sudan. He has to fight for self-determination. Based on his vision, all South Sudan has to follow his ideas. Now we got an independent country because of his struggling with Dr. Graham. Dr. Graham was fought for the New Sudan, and Dr. Machar was fought for the self-determination. And the international community support the idea of Dr. Machar because North was Muslim and South was Christian. And there was war for 52 years in the South, and there's no war in North. There was no development for last decade in the South of the country. And that was considered by international community, and our self-determination was approved by our vote. We vote for suppression so that we would be an independent state. Within this vote, we become independent. Within independent state, we have to be ruled by the law of the countries, not by individuals, clans who find themselves superior than others. We have to stand firm. The South Sudanese would understand. We, the Nuer in Ethiopia, was forced to the war because during the struggle there was no rooms for the rebels. There was no place to exercise and train the militaries. I was forced to the war. My family was forced to the war. My sister was forced to early marriage because my village was used as a military base by SPLA between 1984 to 1991. My brothers, my dad and my other sibling was forced to be a military by post. And I was forced to child soldiers because I have no right to defend myself. But today we get a country. We have to be truthful to ourselves. I have questioned Honorable Michael McQuailwas. Honorable Michael McQuailwas was one of the militaries. He has received training. I can read from his background story, but he forgot what he's struggling for. We don't struggle for the tribe. We struggle for the country. We want the country to be independent, and everyone will have a right. We were fighting the North because we were marginalized. But we now, South Sudanese, we have to struggle to make the country beautiful for any citizen that has fought for it. Dr. Machar is a right person to lead the country now because he had a vision before the country got independent. Dr. Machar is a nationalist, not a tribalist like a Salva Kiir and his ally, and is Jiang Council member. Salva Kiir has no agenda of being a president of South Sudan. He was forced to the position by Dr. Machar when Dr. Greng said, we are Apanals and is from the Warab state, so we would not be on the position based on our constituents. So Salva Kiir came to power not because he's Jiang or Dienka. He came because he represents the Warab state. So due to that constitutional rule and the regulation, he could not today focus on Dienka rules all 64 tribes and marginalize them and make them a slave on their own country. That would not happen. We will announce to international community, and we will stand firm to defend the voiceless people. The people has been banned by acidic chemical weapons that has been released from the Uganda and to the Upper Nile state where the nation Nuer lives. And people has been burned alive, which is against the international law. No human can be burned alive by other human. So this press conference that denies the fact that the SPLA has been devised so that they have to rule them, it will not be accepted by international communities. So the resource that used by IG are the resource for all South Sudanese. It's not a resource for the SPLA IG itself. The resource, the oils. The oil is for the citizen of South Sudan, not for missionary to buy people and fight for their own leadership. Bullman is taken responsible for that because when Bull came as a vice president, he has not read the line between. When I say he has not read the line between, he has not understand what it means to be a leader of the country. The war that has happened in Afanal State, NASIR, is a war between SPLA IG soldiers and a local people. That has nothing to do with SPLA IO. That has nothing to do with any leaders. It is a failure commander-in-chief that imposed war within its own citizen. The brigade, the group that was in NASIR would be responsible for their own fate because there's no national arms that fight its civilian to the death and bombard them and burn them to heart. They would prefer the negotiation rather than showing their power to their own nation. There's no resistance, there are no faction in a NASIR that declare themselves against government. They are only a civil defense force that defend their children, their properties, and their wife not to be raped, their right not to be undermined by their own government. They have requested the government of South Sudan to bring the national unity arms, the arm that compose of all tribes, not one tribe. And the government of South Sudan put that at the back of the ear because they don't see those tribes as important to them. So we will be defending those voiceless communities down there, and we will be advocating for the government, the dictator government of South Sudan to be replaced by a democratic government. And that is the vision of SPLA-IO by the Dr. Machar that champion the self-determination and will champion the democratics of the country. Because this party has a vision for the unity of the country. As you may have followed from the interviews on when the Dr. Machar was put on house arrest on South Africa, he was told the interviewer or the journalist that again told the SPLA-IG or the government of South Sudan that prosper or propose for prosperity, for the unity of the country, for the democratic state, and for the freedom of the people of South Sudan. And this was the reason why we fought for. We fought for freedom, for prosperity, and for freedom state and a democratic state. And this is not in a ground nowadays. Dr. Machar is not a part of the problem. The problem was created by the government of by the SPLA-IG because they deployed incapable soldiers that has not been well trained to handle his people, to look after his own people. If the untrained soldier has no mandate to carry the laws, and a tribal soldiers has no agenda to unite the countries. They have agenda to destroy and destroy the other nation. And this is not happening in any country in the world. So we will be standing. This press does not represent the people of South Sudan. It does not represent all the parties of SPLA-IO. It does not represent the parties that are signatory to the peace of South Sudan. So when you see the chapter 2, chapter 1, this is state clear that there shall be established a revitalized transitional government of national unity. And this transitional government of unity would respect the revitalized peace agreement portfolio. So when we have come to chapter 2, a composition of the revitalized transitional government of national unity, it has 5 components. We are incubate. When we say incubate, it's something that is added to the system. We have incubate comprised the former GRS, the former SPLA-IG, the former SPLA-IO lead by General Taban Dengai. This is the DPEX teams of 2016 peace agreement. And they barely have no soldiers. They have no backup. They are a self-dependent individual who are looking for the position. They don't have agenda for the development of the country. And they all been portfolio as high-level revitalized groups. They're just hunting for money. They are not hunting for the peace. They just look for money. And when they got their money, so that's what they're looking for. So the other team is 1.312 is SPLA-IO, which is led by Dr. Machar. This is the real movement that has been in struggling for last 20, 40 years. And they don't want to leave the SPLA to the faction that has nothing to do with the agenda of development. So this is the real bodies of peace. If SPLA-IO is not a part of the peace, therefore there's no peace in South Sudan. Because SPLA-IO is supported by all grassroots communities because they have agenda of unity, they have agenda of the democratics, they have agenda of national unity, and they have no agenda of tribes. They have no agenda of eradication. They have agenda of development. As you may have seen from Dr. Machar when he spoke, he said, let's take example, because South Sudan has not done anything for last 10 years of wars. You got independent in 2011 and goes to war in 2013. They have no agenda of development. They have agenda of getting rich quicker, getting resources. And if you see South Sudan resource compared to the population of South Sudan, the resources are 3-4 times more than the population. If you put this country to the people who have a brain knowledge about the economics, this country would be the richest countries in Africa. Because if you take the oils in a pallet, the oil in a pallet produces 160 barrels a day. 160 barrels a day, assume one barrel is $72. When you go to the money in years, it becomes to 12 billions. And the population of South Sudan in 2010 census was 12 millions. But when you go through the 2025 estimation population of South Sudan is 11.3 million. Why? Because the people are not in a country. They already left the country. The population that leave the countries and the production, the deaths and the people leaving the countries contribute for the decline of the population of the country. And that decline would be the target of the government, so that the government has to make sure that all the citizens of the country has to come back home to the country. The people who went abroad, the people who live in refugees camp for the last 20, 30 years has to be brought back to the country. And the resources of the country have to be utilized to feed the people of the country. Because the oil itself can feed the people. Not only the people, they can even establish a good hospital, good roads, and house that can be built within the country. We have oil in Unity State that is not operated for the last 10 years. It has been closed and is now affecting the community because the oil is too much in the land, and it affects the community. It affects the animal living in the area. It even caused a problem because the oil has not been used for the last 10 years. Because there's war within the region. So we need the people who can utilize South Sudan properties, who can utilize the minerals and distribute it to the people of the South Sudan, instead of using the money to bring the people to pay for your own people, which is the agenda of Dr. Bolmans and Salva Kiir, which are very illiterate leaders who have no ideas to develop country, but ideal to destroy the country. And we don't blame people who stand to them because they have no charge. Like Taban has no charge. The SPLA IG lead by Taban has no charge because they were stuck in a cage, so we don't blame them because they should have been killed if they have not declared themselves. We don't blame the SPLA-IO lead by Parkos because He's been threatened to declare himself. These are Bash. They have to die for the people if they mean it. Because SPLIG was not going to be longer anymore. Is now denied by international community because they are dictator leadership. They are dictator government. They have no agenda of development. They have no agenda of democracy. They have no agenda of unity. They have no agenda of building the country. They have agenda of destroying the country. So no country would accept to work with dictators. Except the Yoweri Museveni, who is the dictators. And he's a poor country. He has nowhere to get money. So he has to loot the resource of South Sudan to feed his own people. So this press conference doesn't make sense to the international community. The arrest of Dr. Machar doesn't make sense because he has not connected to the war in NASIR. The war in NASIR is between the local people and the SPLIG soldiers. It is a leadership failure. He has no agenda to that. He cannot even be able to rescue the team because he has no enough military back down there. And he has not investigation. And he has a right to write that the UFDF will not be deployed in South Sudan because we are a sovereign country. We don't have to invite other missionary to the country to destroy our own people. And this is right that can be claimed by any citizen that know what it means to be a citizen. So my life today is just to demand the press conference that put Dr. Machar on house arrest for the investigation. That investigation does not make sense. It's meaningless. And the IG with their Makwelwes are violating the rules. They are violating the transitional peace agreement. They are violating the country laws. They are not imposing the rule of the country. They are destructing and against their own country's rules. And that is the position of many people who think that the South Sudan would be a great country again, to be a country that is united, that is a democratic state, and everyone would be free on his own country. So that's it. And if you have connection to this dictator government, please, the international community, we urge IGAD, köör, and Africa unions to intervene. Either military, because dictator, they don't hear, take the dictators in the country which are led by dictators, they all hear through a forceful means of removing them in power. And that should be done by IGAD and Africa unions, because they have power to overthrow that government and bring the state of the democratic state. They should block all the visa trouble, especially from the sanction that is given by US, as to be followed by IGAD, as to be followed by East Africa community. And there would be no airspace for them until this government has resigned from the position. And we bring the government of national unity, the government that is united the country, the government that is a democratic government, and the government that all the South Sudanese must be free within their own country. Thank you for follow-up. I did not sleep because this press conference was not fair, would not be heard by the national government, like Makwelwes, and because it does make sense when dividing and ruling the people because of their own interests, dividing other parties for their own interests, for finding that they're going to lead the country for their own interests. They are not part of SPLA-IGO, and they have no saying in the SPLA-IGO portfolio, and they have no right to say the SPLA-IGO would be led by one they nominate. Who are they? They are SPLA-IG. They have to keep their portfolio. They have to follow the transitional revitalized peace agreements portfolios, because the revitalized peace agreement has a 5 signatories has been signed by by SPLA-IO lead by Taban, the SPLA-IO lead by Dr. Mashar, the South Sudan Opposition Alliance SOA, the former detainees, and other political parties outside the incubate transitional government of national unity, including the allies, umbrellas, and political party who participate as such as high-level revitalized firms. So we have to respect all these 5 members involved in the revitalized transitional government of national unities that was composite in the chapter 1.3 of revitalized peace agreements, 2018 revitalized peace agreement that was signed by IGAD, AU, and a Troika, and the 2 important senators, Mashar and Salva Kiir, which is like, thank you for watching.